everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the 52-week movie challenge. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and uh, got a fun one for you. We're going to be talking about Darby O'Gill and the Little People, a Disney movie that I remember when I was a kid that I watched, and this is for set in a country you want to visit for week 48. Oof. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty. We got like after this, we got 4 more weeks and then we're done. So let's uh let's talk about this. So this was the year released was 1959. My date challenge completed was 11/29/22. I give it 4 stars. Isn't too bad. Aspect ratio is 133:1. Running time is an hour and 33 minutes. A genre is adventure, family, fantasy. Rated G. Starring Albert Sharp, Janet Monroe, Sean Connery, and Jimmy O'Dea. If I'm pronouncing people's names wrong, just bear with me. Directed by Robert Stevenson, not Robert Louis Stevenson, but Robert Stevenson, who did like a bunch of Disney things. I think he did like Treasure Island and Blackbeard's Ghost and a bunch of other ones. Produced by Walt Disney, but uncredited. Written by Lawrence Edward Watkin. Uh, Music by Oliver Wallace. And the awards received was Golden Globe winner for most promising newcomer female by Janet Monroe. And why did I choose this film? Because it's Disney. And it's Irish. Have I seen this movie before? Yes. Would you recommend this film? Why or why not? Uh, a little bit. I enjoyed it, but some may find it boring. And we'll get into that. We'll talk about this movie a little bit more. Um, which character were you most able to identify with or connect with in what way? None. The characters aren't really connecting to me at all. Um, Best line or memorable quote. I said, well, I like a lively girl. And we'll get into that. There's just some stuff that's a little, I don't know, Disney. Were you surprised by the ending? What would you do differently? A little bit. Even though I've seen it, it's been a while. It's been so long, so I forgot about it. I forgot about the fourth wish. And I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't do anything differently. Um, how familiar are you with the country that the film was set in? And do you feel that the film realistically the country? Um, Life in the country, life in the country. I'm at, I'm not as familiar as I should be, or I guess I want to be. The film portrayed it nicely, but I almost kind of wish that it was filmed there, and we'll get into that. And anything else I'd like to add? Nope. See it on Disney Plus. Okay, so we're going to talk about Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Um, so Darby O'Gill and the Little People is about this guy, Darby O'Gill, who is like I'm let me read what it says on IMDb to kind of give you an idea because I'm not as understanding as this is, but Darby O'Gill seems to be as full of blarney as he is an old codger in Ireland. But the stories of leprechauns he tells at the pub are true. In fact, he and his tiny King Brian, ruler of the little people, are friendly adversaries, continually outfoxing each other. Darby needs a bit of magical help from the wily king when Lord Fitzpatrick replaces him as a caretaker with a handsome, strapping young Michael from Dublin. Michael falls in love with Darby's beautiful daughter, Katie, which is all right with Darby, but the lad has a rival of a local ruffian, the son of a devious widow who wants her boy to be the caretaker. Now, boy, she seemed like a grandmother to that guy. Um, but we'll get into that. But the lad has a rival, who's a caretaker. King Brian's supernatural assistance is necessary to make everything come out all right, but the sneaky leprechaun won't play matchmaker without a fight. Finally, real trouble comes in the form of the Banshee, and Darby will need all the quick wits to save his daughter from the wicked spirit. So, yeah. And the Banshee thing kind of comes out of nowhere, by the way. Like that, I would have loved if there was some kind of like, don't go over there because there's a Banshee or some kind of warning kind of thing. But like that thing was like, it's still to this day, since the first time I probably watched, I was like, wait, what? Even as a kid, I was like, there's there's like an evil spirit thingy. It was a little strange. Actually, and as a fact, as a kid, I really didn't like this movie. It's very slow. It doesn't feel like a kid's movie. Like it should be a kid's movie, but like maybe Irish kids might get a kick out of it. Once again, not filmed in Ireland, filmed in California, on the Disney lot or whatever, and Disney Studios and stuff like that. And you can definitely tell there's like matte paintings and you know, um, there's a lot of woods and stuff that I mean like little fields and things like that. So they try to make it look like the countryside, but it really isn't isn't Ireland. Um, so here's a funny story. So I had to pick something, and I was looking up like best Irish movies, or movies set in Ireland, and Killing of a Sacred Deer popped up. So I was like, "Ooh, I'll watch that," because I've been really excited to see that movie. I watched all the way through it. I'm getting ready to write this thing. And then I find out it wasn't even filmed in Ireland. Now, I didn't think it was, but like I wasn't sure. Like they barely showed Ireland off. But it was filmed in like Cleveland. So I was completely off. So I was like, what the hell? What am I gonna do? I just wasted all this time watching that for like basically nothing. So I was like looking up other movies and other ones popped up, but a lot of them were like you have to buy it or like rent it or whatever, and I just did not feel like doing that. So the only other one was like Sing Street, which I've already done. And so I was wondering what I could do, and I found Darby O'Gill. And then I looked up Darby O'Gill and found out it was set in Ireland, but it wasn't filmed in Ireland. So it was like kind of the exact opposite of like sort of what I was expecting with Killing of a Sacred Deer. I thought that movie was set in Ireland, and it wasn't. It was filmed in Cleveland, and it's supposed to be Cleveland, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if they even mention where they are in that movie. But anywho, so I'm watching this. I'm just like, this movie is just too, I don't know, like I want to love it because A, it's Disney, and B, it's Irish, and I do like the Irish. Like, this is set in an area that I would love to visit. I would love to visit Ireland, but like looking at this now is just like it's kind of boring because it's not actually filmed in Ireland. So, you're looking at just California. Like if you wanted to go to a filming location, you would go to California for it. It's kind of boring. Um, you wouldn't actually have to go to Ireland. They did have actors do Irish accents and stuff. I'm pretty sure Sean Connery could be Irish himself. I want to say he's from Ireland. He's Scottish. Okay. So he's Scottish. Albert Sharp is Irish. So he had a regular accent. Janet Monroe is that um British. Okay. So everybody is sort of from that area, Scottish, British, and Irish. Jimmy O'Dea, um, Irish. Those two had like the sharpest like accents I've heard. These two guys had the sharpest accents. I like them. They're my two favorite characters. And so basically, Darby O'Gill is this guy. He just goes around and says he knows these little leprechauns, and the leprechaun had told him once that you can only do three wishes. If you try to do the fourth wish, all the other wishes go away. So he would like trick them into doing four wishes. And so that ha ha ha, now you don't get the wishes anymore. A little scamp. And so one day, he goes out, I guess, to find them and everything, and he ends up falling down a well, and the well, has all the little people in there, and they kidnap him basically to try to keep him there forever because uh he's just better off there than in the real world and everything. To For his family, for everybody, and for all that stuff. And for basically for the little people too, because he's kind of telling them about him, and I guess they're trying to keep secret. So he's trying to do that stuff. So anyway, he ends up tricking basically King Brian into coming with him back to the area he was in Ireland and stay there. And he was going to do three wishes, grant him three wishes. So he keeps kind of postponing all the wishes. Finally, he does a couple of wishes. Then the third wish is the big wish, and it's supposed to be the end wish. And so at the end of the movie, the Death Coach, which is like a sort of urban legend thing in folklore, comes for Katie, and he wishes for him, to take himself instead of Katie. So he gets in the coach and he flies, and King Brian joins him and says, I'm sorry I can't be going with you. And he says, I wish you could. And he was like, ha, you did your fourth wish. So all of the other wishes didn't matter, which made me think, didn't that technically mean that since those didn't matter, that Katie would still get sick? Because like it would be like that wish didn't happen. So I don't know, but apparently not. Apparently Katie was fine and at the end of it, and he lived to tell the tale, but everybody just thinks he was a drunk. At one point, he's got the bag filled with what's his name, with King Brian, and they see a rabbit fly out because King Brian won't let him see himself or whatever. So, you know, and it did make me wonder if this was all in Darby O'Gill's head. All of this stuff is he's just some drunk who just thinks he's actually seeing these things when really what we're seeing is what was really going on. I don't know. It's never really said. I mean, you're kind of meant to believe because it's sort of a fantasy that it is. But who knows? I mean, I don't think there's any real saying. It's sort of led to make you believe like, did he really find King Brian, or is King Brian, just a rabbit or whatever that he found, or things like that, which be really fucked up to just keep a rabbit in a, sack. Um, but who knows? We don't know. And in the end of the day, I gave it 4 stars because I gave Killing of a Sacred Deer 4 stars. This movie, I might even just take the 4 star down and give it three. Actually, I'm gonna do that because now that I'm like thinking about it, it's like it really doesn't need its. Mm, you want to visit? Yep, I'm gonna give it. Yeah, sorry, 3 stars. 3 stars. I'm only giving it 3 stars. It's really not that great of a movie. And like I said, like most people might find it boring. The only thing I think that stands out from the movie is what's his name? Sean Connery does such a great job, but I mean, he could read a book for an hour and a half and I'd probably watch it, you know. Unfortunately he's dead. So if he did it now it'd be weird. But you know, when he was that age, he could probably read a book and I'd be interested. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I liked it enough to say I might watch it again, but it wasn't that great. It was definitely was not up there with like Killing You a Sacred Deer, which I liked, but once again wasn't like one of the best movies I've seen in a long time because it was too weird. So this movie wasn't weird, but it was just kind of boring. So with that, I guess that'll be it. So we're gonna talk about the next one. The next week is a film based around a religion. Ooh, I don't know. Oh, that's gonna be an interesting one. So, film based around a religion, so that could be almost anything. Um, we'll see. So with that, thank you guys for checking this out. Join me next week for that episode. And until then, bye everybody.